Good morning. Going back to tensegrity, and the next chapter is 6 series of tensegrity. The 6 series which are going to be discussed are the following. Number 1, the series for preparing intent. Number 2, the series for the womb. Number 3, the series of the 5 concerns, the westward series. Number 4, the separation of the left body and the right body, the heart series. Number 5, the masculinity series. Number 6, the series for devices used in conjunction with specific magical passes. The particular magical passes of tensegrity that comprise each of the 6 series conform with a criterion of maximum efficiency. In other words, each magical pass is a precise ingredient of a formula. This is a replica of the way in which the long series of magical passes were originally used. Each series was sufficient in itself to produce the maximum release and redeployment of energy, or redeployable energy. In executing the magical passes, there are certain things that must be taken into consideration in order to perform the movements with maximum efficiency. I'll show you some pictures in a minute. Number 1. All the magical passes of the 6 series can be repeated as many times as desired, unless otherwise specified. If they are first done with the left side of the body, they must be repeated an equal number of times with the right side. As a rule, every magical pass of the 6 series begins in the left side. Number 2. The feet are kept separate by distance equivalent to the shoulder's width, and that gives balance. This is balanced. This is a balanced way to distribute the weight of the body. If the legs are spread too far apart, the balance of the body is impaired. The same thing happens if they are too close together. So the best way to arrive at this distance is to begin from a position where the 2 feet are close together. So bring your feet together. The tips of the feet are then pivoted on the fixed heels and opened in a letter V shape, pointing toes apart. Shifting the weight to the tips of the feet, the heels are pivoted out to the sides an equal distance. The tips of the feet are brought into a parallel alignment, and the distance between the feet is roughly the width of the shoulders. So it's like a moonwalk, but you're doing it under the weight of your body gently. So you bring your feet together, you take your toes apart in a V shape, and then you bring your heels to where your toes are, and that will align with your shoulders. It will give you the optimal balance in your body. Number 3. During the execution of the magical passes of tensegrity, the knees are kept slightly bent. So like you're roller skating or ice skating, or you're on a surfboard, or you're on a what them other blooming things called with the wheels underneath. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Here we go. Keep them slightly bent, your knees, so that when one is looking down, the kneecaps block the view of the tips of the feet, your toes. Except in the case of specific magical passes in which the knees have to be locked. Such cases are indicated in the description of those passes. To have the knees locked doesn't mean that the hamstrings are injuriously tense, but rather that they are locked in a gentle way without unnecessary force. This position of bending the knees is a modern, actually if you're skiing you would do the same with your knees. The position of the position of bending the knees is a modern addition to the execution of the magical passes, one that stems from influences of recent times. One of the leaders of Don Juan's lineage was the Nagual Lujuan, a sailor from China whose original name was something like Loban. He came to Mexico around the turn of the 19th century and stayed there for the rest of his life. One of the women sorcerers in the Don Juan Mateos' own party went to the Orient and studied martial arts. Don Juan Mateos himself recommended that his disciples learn to move in a disciplined fashion by taking up some form of martial art training. Another issue to consider in reference to the slightly bent knees is that when the legs are moved forward in a kicking motion, the knees are never whipped. Rather, the whole leg should be moved by the tension of the muscles of the thighs, moving in a fashion. The tendons of the knees are never injured. Number 4. The back muscles of the legs must be tensed. This is a very difficult accomplishment. Most people, but you feel this when you climb things or you're going up a mountain, a hill, gradients, basically. This is a very difficult accomplishment, and most people can learn quite easily to tense the front muscles of the legs, but the back muscles of the legs still remain flaccid. Don Juan said that the back muscles of the thighs are where personal history is always stored in the body. According to him, feelings find their home. They find their home there and get stagnant. Interesting. He maintained that difficulty in changing behavior patterns could be easily attributed to the flaccidity of the back muscles of the thighs. It's in other parts of the body as well. Number 5. While performing all the magical passes, the arms always kept slightly bent at the elbows, never extended when they are moved to strike, preventing in this manner the tendons of the elbows from becoming irritated. The thumb must always be kept in a locked position by your index finger. So you actually pull the tip of your thumb towards that knuckle that connects your index finger to your hand. When they are moved to strike, preventing. So the thumb must always be kept in a locked position, meaning that it is folded over the edge of the hand. It should never stick out. This actually, if you go and look at any of these guys that break brick and stone and wood, that is the position of the hand. So you literally, and they actually use the part of the hand that's below the little finger when they break through various substances. The sorcerers of Don Juan's lineage considered the thumb to be a crucial element in terms of energy and function. They believed that at the base of the thumb exist points where energy can become stagnant and points that can regulate the flow of energy in the body. In order to avoid unnecessary stress on the thumb or injury resulting from jointing the hand forcefully, they adopted the measure of pressing the thumbs against the inside edge of the hands. Number 7. When the hand is made in a fist, the little finger is raised to avoid an angular fist, in which the middle finger, fourth and fifth fingers droop. The idea is that in making a square fist, the fourth and fifth fingers have to be raised, thus creating a peculiar tension in the axilla. A tension is a most desirable and of generally well-being. Number 8. The hands, when they have to be opened, are fully extended. The tendons of the back of the hand are at work, presenting the palm as an even, flat surface. Don Juan preferred a flat palm to counteract the tendency, established, he felt, through socialization. So to present the hand as a hollow palm, he said that a hollow palm was the palm of a beggar, and that whoever practiced the magical passes is a warrior, not a beggar in the least. Number 9. When the fingers have to be contracted at the second knuckle and bent tightly over the palm, the tendons on the back of the hand are tensed to the maximum, especially the tendons of the thumb. So you're almost actually bending your palm so is it convex? Not concave. So when you're begging, your hand is concave, but when you're a warrior, your hand is convex, which means that you're actually pushing out your palm upwards. Or, well, it depends. That's what the magical passes is all about. This tension of the tendons creates a measure on the wrists and forearm areas, which sorcerers of ancient Mexico delivered were key in promoting health, and well-being. Number 10. In many tensegrity movements, the wrists have to be bent forward or backward to an approximately 90-degree angle by contracting the tendons of the forearms. This bending must be accomplished slowly because most of the time the wrist is quite inflexible, and it is important that the wrist acquire the flexibility to turn the back of the hand to a maximum angle with the forearm. Number 11. Another important issue in the practice of tensegrity is an act which has been termed turning the body on. Nothing to do with sex, by the way. Dirty mind, stop it. This is a unique act in which all the muscles of the body, and specifically the diaphragm is your breathing, all are connected in one instant. The muscles of the stomach, the abdomen, are jolted, as are the muscles around the shoulders and the shoulder blades. The arms and legs are tensed in unison with equal force, but only for an instant. As a practitioner of tensegrity progress in their practice, they can learn to sustain the tension for a while longer. So turning the body on has nothing to do with a state of perennial bodily tension that seems to be the mark of our times. When the body is tense with preoccupation or overwork, and the muscles of the neck are hard, as they can be, the body is not in any way turned on. Relaxing the muscles or arriving at a state of tranquility is not turning the body off either. The idea of the sorcerers of ancient Mexico was that with their magical passes, the body was alerted, woken up. It was made to be ready for action. That's warrior. Because we should really be warriors right now with everything going on. Don Juan Matias termed this condition turning the body on. He said that when the muscular tension of turning the body on ceases, the body is turned off naturally. Number 12. Breath and breathing were, according to Don Juan, of supreme importance. We all know about breath work. We can all do this. And you don't need to go to some guru that tells you you've got to breathe like this and go. Just breathe. In through the nose, out through. There's actual chemical things that occur when you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Breath and breathing, according to Don Juan, of supreme importance for the sorcerers of ancient Mexico. They divided breath into breathing with the tops of the lungs, breathing with the midsection of the lungs, and breathing with the abdomen. Breathing by expanding the diaphragm they called the animal breath, and they practiced it assiduously. Don Juan said, for a longevity of health. It was Don Juan Matias's belief that many of the health problems of modern man could easily be corrected by deep breathing. He maintained that the tendency of human beings nowadays is to take shallow breaths. Very true. One of the aims of the sorcerers of ancient Mexico was to train their bodies by means of the magical passes, to inhale, exhale deeply. I wish you all a great day, and thank you for listening.